13 Best Time Travel Manhwa, Ranked. A common theme in manhwa is redemption or getting a second chance to fix past mistakes. This is especially true for the popular returner subgenre. Manga of this type usually open with the protagonist lamenting over their regrets before being sent back to an earlier time in their lives. However, with so many stories using the same premise, manhwa can become formulaic and predictable, so something must be unique for them to stand out. It can be the world itself, the goal of the characters, or even the art style. Time travel opens many possibilities and, if done well, makes for some of the best stories out there. Updated April 27, 2024, by Garrett Hewen. There are plenty of time travel manhwa available to read, so it can be hard to choose which are the best. Older manhwa may have been more widely read, but a newer story could have better writing and storytelling. Expanding this list will help resolve those differences by giving recognition to the manhwa that just barely made the cut. 13. Medical Return. My anime list score, 7.81. Kim Ji-hyun was a doctor and surgeon who was down on his luck. He struggled throughout his entire career, failing in his business and education. In a hopeless situation, he is sent back in time by someone he had saved years prior. Now at the age of a high school student, Kim Ji-hyun wants to live a proud and successful life. Time travel stories are usually set in more fantastical settings, and even fewer would use medical science as the center point in a plot. Medical Return was one of the most largely read time travel stories due to its interesting concept and solid writing. It struggles to maintain its quality in the second half, which can often happen in longer manhwa. However, it's still worth a read for fans of time travel stories. 12. The 100th Regression of the Max Level Player. My anime list score, 7.81. After 99 regressions, Min Ryu is once again trapped in a death game hosted by supposed angels. At the start of the new year, anyone between 15 and 29 years old is transported to another dimension to complete missions, risking their lives and fighting each other. In that world, Min Ryu takes the moniker Black Scythe. This manhwa is like most regression stories, but the main character is a little more interesting. Protagonists are often afraid to change the flow of events or do anything to disrupt the future. Min Ryu has no hang-ups, because he's lived so many lives and has become morally ambivalent as a result. The art style is similar to that of Solo Leveling, which definitely improves its popularity. 11. A returner's magic should be special. My anime list score, 7.53. Dazir Arman is one of the few survivors in the Shadow World. He and his teammates have defeated the final boss, a dragon with immense magical power, but just as they celebrate their victory, they are all caught in an explosion. Dazir wakes up in the past on the day he becomes a student at Hebrian Academy. With knowledge of the future, he plans to prevent all the disasters that befell humanity. While its place on this list may be low, A Returner's Magic Should Be Special is a great manhwa that has great characters and world building. Its plot and writing are typical as far as time travel stories go, but it's still popular enough to have an anime adaptation. 10. My in-laws are obsessed with me. My anime list score, 7.76. Time travel manhwa usually start with the death of the main character. In My In-Laws Are Obsessed with Me, Prashati is poisoned by her fiancé and stepfamily, but wakes up to find that she has gone back in time. In order to survive, she asks for a marriage contract with Duke Napoleon. While the beginnings of this story seem ordinary, it evolves into a much more nuanced drama with mystery elements. With less focus on romance, the characters have more depth and become more sophisticated as they are part of the story rather than accessories to it. 9. Doombreaker. My anime list score, 7.79. Action manhwa that include time travel have a hard time differentiating themselves, because many of them follow the exact same plot. Doombreaker gets away with it because of its grittier atmosphere, art, and storytelling. The harsh lines and dark colors add to the apocalyptic nature of the story, whereas similar manhwa use a much lighter palette. The highlights of Doombreaker are its battles. Each fight is fluid, stylized, and impactful. Each one helps the reader understand the characters and their motivations while displaying their growth in the story. 8. Mother's Contract Marriage. My anime list score, 7.81. In this manhwa, the main character is not the returner. Rather, it's the returner's daughter, who wakes up to see her mother behaving completely differently than just the night before. In what seems like no time at all, Lyrica becomes a princess through her mother's contract with the emperor. This is a feel-good manhwa that's all about cute moments between Lyrica and the other characters. Her innocence and cheerfulness are the reason the story is enjoyable, and she perfectly matches the whimsical art style she is illustrated in. 7. My Life as a Loser. My anime list score, 7.84. Bullying is a popular topic in school manhwa, usually displaying the harshest forms of abuse ever seen. It's normally the victim who goes back in time to stop the bullying from happening, but that's not the case here. Having the bully go back in time to relive the victim's trauma is a great twist to the My Life as a Loser narrative. Despite being filled with comedic moments, this story does not stray from the overall lesson it's trying to teach. It puts the consequences of bullying at the forefront without making the story too dark. 6. The Broken Ring. This marriage will fail anyway. My anime list score, 7.85. At first, the story of The Broken Ring, This Marriage Will Fail Anyway would appear to be about Ines getting revenge on her cheating husband, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Ines Valesna is a fantastic main character who portrays the trauma of living and dying in multiple lives. This manhwa is a slow burn, and it takes a long time for the main characters to actually fall in love, but it's not done in a superficial way. Each character is their own person with their own thoughts and doubts, but thankfully, basic communication is not the driving force behind this story. 5. Debut or Die. My anime list score, 7.85. There are many stories about idols or becoming idols, but even so, this one is unique. The protagonist of Debut or Die wakes up in the body of Park Moon-D 3 years into the past, and when he emulates the stories he's read, his status window tells him he must debut as an idol or die. This story is made by its fantastic characters and the introspection they go through. They feel like real people who are anxious about their flaws and worried about how they're seen. It's also a good look at the entertainment industry, even if it's highly dramatized. 4. Marriage of Convenience. My anime list score, 7.89. For Bianca, who had seen everything she loved disappear, going back in time was a blessing. Though she is a typical returner using her knowledge of the future to succeed, it's okay because each action she takes means one step toward growing up. Before, she was just an immature young lady. With Bianca realizing who she wants to be, she sees the people around her in a new light, especially her husband. Their relationship is what makes the story great, even with all the political drama in the background. 3. SSS Class Suicide Hunter. My anime list score, 8.03. SSS Class Suicide Hunter is a tower climbing fantasy but not like any seen before. The main character, Kim Gongja, gains the ability to go back in time by happenstance. Unfortunately, he can only go back 24 hours and only when he has died. Like a normal, sane person, he ends his own life over 4,000 times to stop the man who killed him. Just the premise of this story makes it unique, but the actual plot and characters are also very well written. Though action and battles are abundant, the protagonist balances it out with his overwhelming kindness toward entities in the tower. 2. A Stepmother's American. My anime list score, 8.10. In this story, the main character, Shilai, is upset about being in the past. She'd worked for 7 long years to manage her household and raise her ungrateful children, and having to go through that again was daunting. A Stepmother's American is a heartwarming story of a stepmother trying to bond with her stepchildren, but beyond that, there is something darker. The drama of this story is emphasized through the wonderful art that portrays it, using deep shadows and high contrast to change the atmosphere when needed. 1. I shall master this family. My anime list score, 8.21. The Lombards are like the Medici in real life, they are a family of wealth and power that could sway an entire kingdom. In this story, Fiorenza Lombardi returns to being a young girl and has her sights set on being master of the house and saving her family. I shall master this family is a different type of power fantasy. Instead of magic and powers, Fiorenza flexes her knowledge of economics and politics. It's definitely not as explosive, but it's still satisfying to see her strategies and machinations come to fruition.
Hello. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future content, comment and let me know. I know many are not comfortable with AI art. But, I am saving to gather supplies to delve into other art styles. It will take time. But, I am hoping to get into resin, woodworking, and metalworking. All I ask, please enjoy my videos.